Hello there folks, how are you? It's lovely to see you again as usual, and a very warm welcome back to What's for Tea, and I hope that I find you very well indeed. And tonight for tea I made this giant steak bake or beefy bake or steak slice, however you like to say it. It's just a lovely rich tender beef stew inside this massive envelope of puff pastry. So I'm just going to show you how I'm making this, but as usual I'll put the ingredients on the screen as we go, and I'll also put them in the description box underneath the video. So go over to your cooker. You want to start with a medium heat. To that I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil and a tablespoon of butter. The olive oil will stop the butter burning, as it cooks. To this I'm going to add a teaspoon of thyme and just add that into the melted butter. Give it a wee stir around, and you want to let this sizzle away just for a few seconds to let the fragrance of the thyme come out. And then we're going to add an onion. This is just one medium onion which I've finely diced. Again, give that a wee stir through, and you want to let these cook just for a couple of minutes to soften up before you add the beef. So this is my beef here, and don't worry about the colour. This has been straight from the fridge and it's been sitting at room temperature, so it is fresh, so don't worry. You want to give this a good stir around. Keep going until it's browned all over, just like this. And then to this I'm going to add a tablespoon of tomato puree or tomato paste, however you like to call it. Give that a good stir through to make sure the beef is well coated in the tomato puree, and you want to let this sit and cook for about a minute or so, just so that the beef starts to soak in that lovely tomato flavour. So now you want to add the beef stock. I am using beef oxo cubes, but you use whatever stock you prefer. I'm also going to add a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. This is optional. If you don't have this, you don't need to bother with it. Give it a wee stir around. You want to bring this up to the boil and then reduce it to a simmer. Keep this on a really, really gentle low simmer for between an hour and a half and 2 hours, and just come back a couple of times during the cooking process just to give it a wee stir around and make sure it isn't sticking to the bottom. But you can see already it's starting to thicken there, but you'll end up with a beautifully rich stew, and it'll just be falling apart, and the gravy will be lovely and rich just like this. Look at the colour of this, it's insane, and it was just starting to catch on the bottom of the pan, which is absolutely perfect. I mean, that's where all your flavour is at the end of the day. So I was happy with this. You can thicken this up if you like, but I was happy with how thick this was. So turn it off and let that cool completely. Once your stew is cool, get your pastry out, and we want to just flip it round top to bottom. You want to use a beaten egg with a wee drop of water just to act as a glue up the side of your pastry. Pop your beef into the centre of your pastry just like this. Even it out a wee bit. Go back around with your egg wash just to make sure that your pastry is going to stick down when you pull it over the top, and you just want to pinch all the edges together. I'm just going to press these down with my fingers and my hands. You can go around this with a fork if you want to be absolutely certain that it's not going to open up as it bakes in the oven, but I usually find doing it this way is enough. You want to make some slits in the top of your pastry just to let the steam escape and make sure it doesn't all bubble over and out the sides. That would be a complete mess. So just a couple of wee slits in the top, like I said, just to let the steam escape as it cooks in the oven. The last thing we're going to do is use your remaining beaten egg and water or your egg wash all over the top and all over the sides, and this is now ready for the oven. So bake this for between 30 and 40 minutes. This will depend on your own pastry and your oven, obviously. I gave this one just over half an hour in the middle of your oven. You don't want this too high in your oven or it will just burn, all over the sides, and it won't cook on the top. So yeah, and this was mine when it came out the oven, and I was really pleased with this. You can see how well it's puffed up there just on that sealed edge, and this was absolutely delicious, crazy good. If you like a steak pie or a steak bake or anything like that, you are going to love this. So I'll just show you quickly what it's like inside. You can see all that lovely stew in there. So we had this for our tea. This will easily do 4, 5, even 6 portions, depending on how big you make them. You can do individual steak bakes if you like, just make wee individual parcels, but this just was lovely lovely for us. So thank you so much for watching. If you're still here at this point, and a huge thank you to the supporters of the channel over on my Patreon page and to the channel members here on YouTube as well, for you all for watching and leaving your lovely comments, and for those that share the videos and like the videos, and for those that have bought me a coffee using the Buy Me a Coffee link. It's all very much appreciated. You've no idea how much I appreciate you all, and I'm very lucky to have you. We've got a lovely wee community here now, and for that I'm very grateful. I will catch up with you during the week for another wee video back here on What's for Tea, but until I see you next, take care of yourselves and bye for now. Bye now.